I've waited as long as I've lived. Thumbs up. Come get what's yours and what's real. Boot up. Blissful in each other's skin above. Finally risen to the occasion. Past love's forgiven. Made heart space for the one. When it feels right, that's that ascension. Never going back to when. Before you forgot my worth. Your love for me feels like a rebirth. I don't wanna lose this high, wouldn't wanna lose this high. I just wanna make me yours, I just wanna make you mine. Forgot my worth. Your love for me feels like a rebirth. I don't wanna lose this high, wouldn't wanna lose this high. I just wanna make me yours, I just wanna make you mine. Mine.
Everybody. Oh, mine's looking like that. There we go. Yes. All righty. So we're going to begin. We're live now. So hey family, welcome back to the Brown Girls Collective podcast, where we turn conversations into connection and connection into culture.
From book club discussions to interviews to street conversations, we are always creating space for your voice and her story.
And if you're new here, my name is Desiree.
And my name is Jasmine. And today we're getting into a real conversation.
So this month's read is Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. And it really takes us into identity, family, and the impact of decisions across generations. And when we think about our theme from survival to softness, may she bloom anyway, this story shows us how survival shapes people, but also growth, healing, and identity begin to take form over time. We are also joined by Dr. Myava Clark, an educator, advocate, and author whose work focuses on creating safe spaces for children and supporting families.
And honestly, we are so excited to have you here with us today because this conversation touches so many layers of identity, healing childhood, survival, and growth.
So before we really get into everything, we just wanted to welcome you into our space and ask you, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you, ladies, so much for having me to be a part of your conversation. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Yeah, for real. So, how are you feeling coming into this conversation? And what about this book and the theme stood out to you the most?
So, first of all, I am actually getting ready to release my 9th book, and I thought we were doing help support for parents of children with learning and thinking differences, and not He Guided Me Through the Storm. But it doesn't matter because I did both, so I just have to shift gears.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So you said you thought we were doing what now?
I thought we were doing a different book, but
no, we're not. Well, from what I sent you in the email, we're discussing Red at the Bone, and we're your author spotlight. We're spotlighting your books. So we're spotlighting.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I just got confused. So we're talking about Red at the Bone right now.
Yes.
Okay. So I apologize. I got confused.
So community conversation. Yes. Okay,
So,
I just want to make sure we're on the same
Red.
page.
What I will say about Red at the Bone, I actually had to go through it twice.
I did too.
Um,
Me too.
I
Yeah.
had to go through it twice because the first time I went through it, I didn't really connect with it. And I said, and then when I saw that Oprah and it was such an acclaimed book, I said I must have missed something because I didn't get what they got out of it. And I must
Mm.
say, going through it the second time, I have a better appreciation for it, and I was able to see it differently.
Yeah, I think, well, I definitely was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna have to read this again because it was like scattered and I didn't
Hmm.
understand it until I got like halfway through the book. So when you started it over, now you have like understanding of what's going on. So now you can follow along because we had an author on a few months ago and she was saying that this was a really good book. And I'm sitting here like, ugh, is it? Like, I mean, like, I like the idea of how, it was written in so many, it was just basically one event in everybody's
Yeah, perspective.
perspective
Mhm.
on the event, but it took you finishing the book kind of to realize that, you know? So yeah. But
It jumped around a lot. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't I'm finding
she
it.
finding it.
uh, Again, I feel like I probably need to do it again.
Yeah.
Even though I did it twice, I'm gonna have to do it again. Just to be completely honest, I don't know. I feel like I need to really focus because I wasn't. Because usually I could still, because we do Audible, and I could still kind of.
Yeah, you have to really sit.
You have to really sit and like listen, or you're gonna be lost. So I need to do that this time. But yeah.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to start. Because so much of this conversation is about how people learn to navigate life emotionally. So before we go deeper into the book itself, we want to start with a game. Why is it not? Is it? No, I guess it's wanting to make us do it. What? It would do that today. You know, and I got you. Oh,
there it is.
There you go. Yeah, because listen, girl, let me tell you, I was about to end up having to message you. That's why I'm sorry I didn't respond because StreamYard was not even working. So I was trying to pivot and see how we could still do this interview. So like I think some of the things are loading up slower than normal. But yeah. So you coming over here, girl? So our producer, we call this our producer segment. So she's going to come in and play the game with us and ask us questions.
You're gonna squeeze in the middle.
Squeeze in here. Ooh,
he's close.
Need to bring this back.
Hey, Dr. Clark.
Hi.
So before we really get into the book, we wanted to do something different. So normally with the games, we kind of do it based off of the theme, but we really wanted to focus on Red at the Bone because it really gave so many different layers. Because when I was listening to the book, I was catching different things. Male perspective, female perspective, matriarch, lineage, generation. Like it was all these things that we're picking out. But I was like, let's turn this into a game. I like to have fun, kind of break the ice, get us comfortable in the conversation. So tonight's game is built around categories inspired by our theme, but also the book and conversations connected to healing, growth, and support. All righty, so I'll let you go ahead.
Go ahead.
So you get to choose a category.
Okay.
Choose a category. She gets to choose a category. What category do you want to start with?
Survival mode.
Okay.
What's something people learn in survival mode that may protect them at first, but becomes difficult to unlearn later?
Okay. In survival mode, one of the things that will help you initially is fighting for yourself and at any means necessary, not letting anybody get over on you, showing up like I got this, I'm my own protector, and you become this for me, an independent Black woman who can do anything and all things, and it can come back to haunt you in a case like mine when you get married and you now have a husband who's your protector, and you don't have to fight so much, or you don't have to be all of the things, and now you have to scale it back and let him take his rightful position. So that's an example of the strong Black independent woman that my father created had to learn how how to scale back a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
He said my father created. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't undo things your parents
Yeah,
that's
it's
true.
still in you, you know?
That was a great
That-
point.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a great point. Going in our men's panel.
Yeah.
Definitely in our men's panel. Y'all, time mark this. What's it, 10:56?
Yeah.
We're going back to that.
So, Dr. Clark, in your experience working with children and families, just to kind of follow up with you on this, how early do survival behaviors begin to show up?
I think it really depends. I think it depends on the culture of the home and how present the parents are. Because if
That's
you
a valid
have
point.
if you have parents that aren't present and that aren't nurturing the needs, then survival mode is going to kick in a lot sooner, because they don't know maybe where their food's coming from, or they don't know. So now, how do I take care of myself? How do I make sure I have, and what you wind up seeing sometimes, and how you can see if that is an issue. If you watch a child eat and they either eat really, really fast, or they like take a hand and protect their plate while they're eating, that's a sign that should be a red flag that something's not right, because that's not normal for children. That's a learned behavior.
Okay.
Or you just greedy. Because I used to get popped all the time. When we had food, but I just, for some reason, until this day, I still eat really fast. Like my mom was like, "You're supposed to chew 28 times, not 3."
But in a case like that, someone can look at the other social context cues around you to see whether it's that versus something a little more significant.
Right.
All right, one more category.
Well, she gets you 2.
Oh, 2 more.
Yeah.
Oh, let's try space to grow.
Okay. What does it actually look like to create a safe space for someone to grow?
Oh, now that can look a little bit different in terms of action for the parent versus the child, but I'm going to give you the overarching thing is no judgment free, allowing people to be their true authentic selves, be vulnerable without having to explain who they are, without having to feel shame or guilt for where they are, and do it in a way that provides empathy, care, and love for the person as an individual. And that, what I've learned, because I have a support group, Mothers of Exceptional Kids support group, like MOET. And what's really interesting is in this space, how much people I've never met before, males and females, because it's open to parents and caregivers, some fathers are there too. It's so amazing to see how I have created a space that is so freeing that even men come in there and are vulnerable about their children or their life experiences. And that's because it's judgment free. And I lead by example by sharing my story first, and then telling people they can say as little or as much as they want. And they wind up saying more.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Seriously.
And pick one more.
Make it a good one.
Okay, let's try generational inheritance.
Okay. In Red at the Bone, we see behaviors, exceptions, and emotional paths across generation. What's something families can pass down emotionally without even realizing it? That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I love it. I think you should call me.
Questioning.
No, what's the guy from Batman?
Oh, the questioner.
The puzzler? No.
There are a lot of things that can be passed. Complexes can be passed down without them knowing it. I'll give you one that was passed down to me, and I wasn't aware of it. Now, mind you, I grew up with both biological parents, a loving home, always felt loved, always felt safe, and something that was passed down to me. Well, I was, unfortunately, this is some people's realities. It wasn't mine, but sometimes people of color, and particularly Black people, may not like who they are because of the struggles that we had to overcome. So they may wish they weren't that or whatever. And I didn't realize that growing up until I was about 16. I heard that some people didn't like who they were and everything. And that I couldn't relate to that. I couldn't identify because that wasn't my socialization. However, I remember when I thought I was extremely dark. I thought my complexion was really, really dark complected. And I didn't think anything was wrong with it. I just thought I was really dark because a lot of my family are lighter complexion or whatever. And it wasn't until I was admiring my cousin's red lipstick. And I said, oh, I could never wear. I told her, I said, I can't wear that. I said, it looks pretty on you, but I can't wear it. And she said, why not? I said, because I'm too dark. And when she held her arm up next to mine, and we were the exact same complexion, I was floored.
Wow.
And yeah, I was floored because I thought what I saw was darker than what I actually was. And again, I didn't have a problem with it. I loved me. I just thought I was darker than I was. So I said that was a inheritance that I picked up, and it was subconscious. And I move forward, and you see, I embraced the red lips there. So it's not like
amazing.
yeah. So it's not like I was necessary, and even if I was subconsciously hurt by it, it was never it never became a subconscious thing. But I'm from the frame of mind that if anything I'm afraid of or whatever is identified, I run toward it throughout life because I refuse to be held back by anything, especially not by myself.
All right.
All right. Well, I think what I found out about red is that you have different bases. You can do like a blue base or orange base, and depending on your skin color, you can make that like a red. Like I know if I'm gonna wear red, I'm gonna do a blue base. I want that deep, sexy red, like But I did think that too, for myself, where it was like with red, it's like I felt like you had to be a certain color to play that red off. I didn't think that it would look good on me. And then my sister is darker than me, but she was like, she's wearing red. And she was like, oh yeah, it's just, you got to find your hue. Are you blue or orange or whatever? And then when we went and she tested it, and I got, oh, okay. Now I know I can do red, yeah. So, which category stood out to you the most during the game?
Well, I think survival mode jumped out to me first because I've always been a fighter. And when I was younger, I'm the youngest of 5 children, and I'm the only girl. So you had 2 choices. You could be the tomboy or the princess, and I chose to be the tomboy. So
tell me that both, because I was that girl in a tree in a dress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was definitely climbing trees in a dress. My mom used to be like,
no, and then like I'm trying to put on the dress. I want to put on a dress. Why are you making me trying to put me in jeans?
So,
Well, I do want to thank you so much for playing the game with us. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you, Sierra, so much. You did a great job.
thank
You
you.
sure did.
Bye.
Hear the just hit off. All right. And honestly, every category somehow connects back to this idea that people are trying to figure out how to survive, how to heal, how to grow, and how to become themselves. And I think that is a perfect place for us to really begin this conversation. So Red at the Bone really shows us how survival doesn't just impact one person, it shapes families, identity, relationships, and generations. And one thing that I kept noticing throughout the book was how different each generation viewed life. That was one of the things, because you had the debutante ball or the coming of age, or I was trying to figure out the cotillion.
Is that what it was?
It was a cotillion.
I kept trying to figure out like, what is happening? What is this?
And I'm like, you don't really hear too much about cotillions like they were, coming into society. Yeah. And almost like everyone was trying to survive a different version of the world. So do you think some of the tension in this story came from generational differences or from people not having the freedom to fully become themselves?
Well, it for me, it was not just generational. It was I can't think of the word, but oh my goodness, where I can't think of the word, but they came from two different social economic tracks as well. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was that it was both, because what was the guy's name?
Aubrey.
Aubrey, yeah. Aubrey, because he was poor. Mm-hmm. And she was affluent. So it was just interesting as well to see that dynamic, and how he was satisfied with just graduating from high school, and he didn't think it was necessary to go beyond, because I believe that was his socialization. Like, he was deemed successful if he got his high school diploma, and he was okay with that.
So then, because now I'm like, okay, now I'm trying to put this scattered piece down. Okay, so like because when she was pregnant, because his mother was extremely smart, right? And she tutored her, was like, hey, first of all, my grandchild ain't about to be coming from a high school dropout, right? Because she, even though she came from an affluent family, she wasn't even considering going to college. She was just going, she was supposed to be studying, and instead she was turning on the TV and watching TV, so it's like you can see on both sides of the tracks that you have one person who doesn't, who's going to finish high school at least, and then one that just got knocked up, and it took his mother to kind of talk her, and she said it in a way that no one else ever said it to me. Like, this is something that you need to get more. So do you want more or you don't want more? So like, I did think that was, it was so many different things, because even on one part, his mother died, like literally 9 months
within a year.
Within a year. Mm-hmm. So that was all he had. And within 9 months, now he has a whole family, because he did say, I went from not knowing y'all to y'all being all that I have. Yeah. So I saw so many different things. I just didn't understand it until I finished reading. But before we continue this conversation,
which we did take this conversation to the streets.
Roll that beam time footage.
Hi, this is Desiree.
Hi, this is Sierra with the Brown Girls Collective.
And we are here at the Black in Business Expo in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, so we host a monthly book club where we dive deep into conversations like this around providing, protecting, and evolving, redefining the modern man. So I'm going to give you 3 books. Can you help us choose our next book for our book club?
Absolutely.
All right, and I'm going to give you a little description about them, okay? The first one is The Will to Change.
Okay.
This talks about evolving, emotions, love, and vulnerability.
The second book is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This speaks to our provide side and how people build and manage wealth.
And the third book is Be Real Cool. This speaks about identity, how black men show up in the world.
Which do you think we should read?
We're real cool.
I'd probably say the will.
The will to change?
The will to change.
I'm gonna have to go with number 2 on that one.
Me personally, I would pick the last one.
I like both of them, but I'm gonna go with number 3.
It'll be the first one.
I'm gonna say A Will to Change.
So which one do you like, babe?
I think the first one.
I do too.
I say the financial. The money, yes.
Okay.
I would choose book number 2.
Which one would you choose? And why?
money.
I would say the second one.
The Psychology of Money?
Yes.
Let me see.
Would it be The Will to Change? This speaks about evolving, emotions, love, and vulnerability.
I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay.
I would say the will to change.
Alrighty, so this has been the Brown Girls Collective. Make sure you're following for more community, culture, and conversations.
All right,
There you go,
so
sir.
all right, Dr. Clark. So based on everything that we talked about, which direction do you think we should go next for our book club? Which book do you think we should go with?
A Will to Change.
The Will to Change. Okay.
Alrighty, so is that was the book that everybody chose, right? That was
Wasn't
the
that
first
what it
one.
was?
Huh? Yeah, majority.
Majority of what
Okay.
everybody chose.
Hey, why nobody want to do the psychology of money?
She always wanted to know.
I always want to do some money stuff, but it's just like every time I never get what I want. I'm gonna read this game one day. It's just gonna be money books. All right,
Well,
so now let's.
I think before you get to the psychology of money, you have to do with your own personal psychology and mindset. And
Oh,
so
so
you have to have the will to change your mindset before you can have a healthy thinking and approach about money.
It's true.
Ooh, the book club is over. Oh, what? We get a word on this Monday. What's the timestamp? She just shut me up. I don't even.
No, but seriously, you're absolutely
That's
right. And we've definitely read that before. From
We did.
a lot of our books that
Yeah.
we read previously from other episodes from Brown.
Because we
Girls.
used to read a book every week.
Yeah.
Yes. But we couldn't do this format.
A lot of self-help books and things like that were in the beginning. So that was definitely in there. You definitely have to change the way you think about money, period, in order for you to make changes when it comes to that. So yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and get into it because we're right at 27 minutes. And I think this is like one of the best ones we've had so far. We had no issues. Let me stop. Yeah.
Nothing shut down. Amen.
All right. So let's go with questions. Alrighty, so I'm trying to see which question because I'm gonna have to cut them down. All right, so
Short on time.
short on time. So we're gonna go down to 3 questions. But what stood out to you the most about how survival showed up in this story? Right at the bottom.
Well, it showed up a few times, but one for Aubrey, it showed up that after the loss of his mother, I'll say this as a a Black female, I would have a challenging time allowing my daughter's teenage boyfriend to move in and live in my home. Even if he didn't have anywhere to go, I think if I had the money, I would have been more inclined to help him get a place in an apartment of his own and help him that way. I don't think I could personally have embraced him to live in the home. And then when she went off to college, he still stayed there. So he was more like their child than their own biological child at that point. And I thought that was very interesting because she was basically disconnected and left her family, and he became the family.
Yeah. But she did to go to school to hopefully, I think, originally was to better their situation. Yes,
Originally.
Yes.
Originally.
You know, because she's still young. You know, she was 14 when she had her, and now, you know, you go to college when you're like 17, so it's only like 3 years. I mean, I do believe a lot can happen, like you mature or should mature at being a mother. You know, the way you experience life is a little bit different. But, you know, I don't know, because I get where you're coming from, but I'm like, you know, at this point, you know, they've already, you know, done the things in the acts, you know, and he is now, if they're coming from this type of family structure, I'm pretty sure they like, oh, y'all get married, like, you know, so y'all might as well, we go ahead and do this. And then again, who's taking care of the child? And again, he doesn't have anybody. And if he is working, he could bring more money into this home to help take care of this child that's living here while the mother's at school. You know, so I kind of looked at it. I mean, because I didn't think about that at all in what you said. So I'm glad you brought that up as a point. I just, you know,
I did.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because I mean, especially at that time, I feel like that would have been very rare, especially given the fact that they barely didn't even want anybody to know that she was having a baby.
Well, they moved to a whole different state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They moved to a whole different state because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
So they were trying to get away from where they was at. So the fact that you, on top of that, then you moved away, but then you let the guy that impregnated your daughter live with you, just seems kind of strange. Because, I mean, if you was going to do that, you might as well just stay where you was at.
I feel
was
like,
the point of leaving?
So he could have a relationship with his child, so it wouldn't be a child separated from their father. You know,
but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you was gonna let him move in, what was the point of y'all moving? Y'all could have just stayed right there and let him move in.
Well, because the people in the environment that they currently reside, everybody know everybody business. Going somewhere else, they don't know what the situation is. For all they know, like you said, she gone. That could be their child, little sister, or whatever the dynamic is. People are going to suspect without fully knowing, going into a situation where you don't know anybody versus everybody know everybody in this situation. So we know what's going on. For sure, we know what's going on.
Well, I think is the point you made, Desiree, is very valid in terms of him helping out and everything. I'm saying, me personally, I don't think I could have done that, but in the scenario that I painted, he would still be able to be involved with his child and help out. He just wouldn't have been living there. But I still say the way that it read and the dynamics of them, it seems like they became closer with him. I support the fact that the child, that she should have gone off to college and not and to have the chance to grow. So I'm okay with that. But if you remember, she never came home. She didn't call them. She distanced herself, and I would have issues with that because she removed herself from her family and he became more of the family. And they said she
would have got jacked up from that. Like that,
right.
That parents allowed that to happen.
Exactly. That the whole dynamic to me was just a little far-fetched for my liking. And even if she went away to school, she would have been coming home every weekend to see her child.
Oh, and take care of that child. Say a child.
Right.
This is the rest of your life, boo-boo.
Yeah, she just dropped the baby off, essentially.
All right. Do you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, it's just, but let me finish my thoughts. It would just, I mean, especially since she never came home anyways, like, again, nobody would have even known because did nobody even know she was pregnant in the first place? While she was
and there. Remember, she wouldn't even let him come up there to bring the baby to visit them either. So she disconnected herself.
Oh, I promise you, that baby would have been up there. I would have been that mom. You ain't. Where's this? You was supposed to send $10 for these diapers for your child. I would have been that mom.
They was in the honey.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me get to this next question because we can talk about that for a minute, I'm sure. Were there moments where growth or softness was possible but didn't happen, do you think, in this book?
I guess the growth of her being a mom was possible, but it didn't happen. And that's
Mhm.
why her daughter didn't respect her as the mom, and she was very disrespectful in terms of her tone with her. But she didn't do anything to cultivate the respect.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
She wasn't there.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff with that dynamic.
She was not there.
And to just piggyback off of what you said, a lot of the book felt like people carried expectations without fully saying what they needed. Do you think silence shaped this family just as much as survival did?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can't heal what's not admitted or addressed. And if we, with anything, don't acknowledge things and don't bring it to the forefront, it's going to be suppressed and not dealt with. So they didn't address even the fact that she started calling her mom by her first name when she did, when she was young.
So much.
I mean, but she wanted, I guess, to be her sister at this point because she was letting that girl believe.
But I feel like even on top of everything else, not just that, but like I feel like they weren't, as parents, weren't doing like, okay, make sure you come see your baby. Don't call her Iris, call her mom. That's your mom. Hey, you haven't come home. Come, you know what I'm saying? Like they just were
the parents. There was a small part that I think people missed because you just said it, and I missed it until you just said it. In the beginning, when Iris was talking to her grandmother about getting dressed for the cotillion, the mom said, because they were talking about becoming an AKA or her pledging, and she was like, "Yeah, your mom is no AKA."
She's not heritage.
She's not here. In that moment,
or legacy or
legacy.
So, in that moment, you hear how the grandmother, is talking about her child to this child. Right. And I think a lot of times in context, we as women or people don't understand how we're saying and what we're saying is shaping and molding a child and their beliefs and how they treat people. So like when I look at my nephew and I might see how, there's some natural things that he has, but I know there's some perceived, or what's the word I'm looking for, where I put my expectations or my feelings on projection. I project my feelings and emotions onto him about how I feel about someone. And now he has a distaste or distrust because of me, and experiments where people put kids next to snakes and show that the parent's fear gives the child fear, stuff like that. So it was like in that moment when we're sitting here talking about how they, why all the things happen in the way that they happen. In this moment, you have your parents bashing you. I can understand why, because again, we're looking at a brief moment, but it's like, I can understand why you decide to stay away from home, because everything there kind of reminds you of this huge blot that you can't run from, because you have to, be responsible or should be responsible for that blot. Like, I know I said a lot, but it just, in that moment when you said that, I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
That's what that part was there for. Because it's like, again, listening to the book, there are little parts of this book that you can break apart. So going into that, based on your work, how important is it to create environments where children feel safe enough to grow?
Oh, it means everything, because you have to connect with children. You have to, just like the parents have to feel safe to be able to talk. Children are just little people. You got to treat them with respect. You have to treat them how you want to be treated, because when you respect children, that gives them permission to respect you. that gives
Mhm.
them they feel safe, and they tend to open. I'll give you an example. My son and I, we presented our lessons at a summer camp, and how to keep teaching kids how to be safe online. And it was a 7-week program. And week one, these kids, they didn't want to be bothered. Who wants to learn in the summertime, even if it is just for an hour? They came in, they were loud and rambunctious and didn't want to be bothered. And when the way we approached them and treated them and taught them, I would say by the third lesson, they were running into their seats and they wanted to be a part. And I bring that up because one little girl, she was in the age group. We had two groups. One was 7 to 9, and the other one was 10 to 13. And one of the little girls in the younger group, she said, Dr. Clark, thank you for creating a safe place for us to talk.
Mm.
And so that was from her. And I understand it's because kids want to talk, but they need to know that you're listening.
And that they ain't gonna get in trouble too.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
because you said reminded me of a video. I think, did I show that to you or you showed it to me? It was a video where this girl was at church talking, and they said it was something you're grateful for, thankful for, and she said her stepmom and the whole church and everybody like kind of was like, oh no, you like, and she was like, this is the problem, because she was like, my mom doesn't listen to me, but my stepmom does. And everybody was bashing the little girl, and it was a really horrible moment, because it's like you're in church and they're like condemning you to a degree on your truth and what you're saying, because they think that what you're doing is offending your mom, when in reality she's like, look, y'all asked me to come up here, and when I do talk and y'all want to know what's going on, this is the only person that really truly listens to me and helps and guides me, while everybody else just does this right here. Like, it was just an example. Like, people always say, oh, you can talk to me, you can do this, you can do that. But then when it comes down to it, they're either judging you or, kind of telling you what you should do, like not actually allowing you the space to talk. And especially as a kid, now, I don't know, I've seen these new kids be having conversations, because when I was growing up, you stayed out of grown folks' business, grown folks' conversations, and if you didn't, you got popped or beat. So, but now I see more kids and parents, expressing or having like more dialogue. Even when we do our Man on the Street segments, like, we didn't catch it this time, but we've had plenty of conversations with family parents that have that dialogue with that kid, and you can see the difference in how these kids are, adulting, and like the type of person they're going to be, in the sense that they have emotional intelligence and they can communicate. Because I think that having that safe space builds a bridge for emotional intelligence. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think that's where we're going to stop this conversation. I really, truly, again, appreciate you from coming on. I think this is why conversations like this matter, because this isn't just about what people went through. It's about what they inherited, what they carried, and what they never got the space to say, and ultimately what they became despite of it. Before we close, we want to take this moment to thank Dr. Myava Clark for sitting with us, reading along with us, and adding her voice to this conversation, because the work you're doing to support children and families, it truly aligns with everything we talked about today.
Okay, and let the people know where they can find your book and how they can connect with you.
Well, if you can go to mothersofexceptionalkids.com/home. And the first thing you can do is download my free ebook.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's go back. We're going to type that into the chat, to the group. What was it?
Mothers of Exceptional Kids.
Is it all one word or two?
It's a website. Mothers of
Exceptional Kids.
.com.
kids.com
/home. So
I
mothersofexceptionalkids.com
spelled that right. Now spell that right.
MOTHEROFEXCEPTIONLKIDS.com.
That girl good. Oh,
For
no spell check, y'all.
/HOME.
Oh no, I'm over here like ESP and sound. Okay, and what else?
So that they can download my free ebook, 5 Secrets to Emotionally Support Your Child with Learning Differences without burning out.
Oh,
And
sorry,
then,
guys. We do have some of her books here today. I meant to bring that on at first, but a good way to wrap it up. We did. You were so lovely to send me these lovely books. And even this guide journal that I said I need to sit through. I was planning on doing later this week because the girl is going through a spiritual battle right now. And I was like, the widow, that's what I feel like, a black widow right now. But yes, I'm sorry. So continue. I'm going to do a book on Vanna White.
Well, what I would say about that book, Levels of Faith. Faith for one season may be different than faith for another season. Since you just shared that, I just want to say this about it and then I'll move on. That book came from me. I was waiting for something from the Lord and it didn't come when I thought it should and when I thought it would. And I got angry because I thought it was going to happen. And I told God, I don't trust you anymore for this. And I'm losing belief for this. Well, obviously he didn't strike me down because I'm sitting here, right? So the next day I came back and I said, God, forgive me. I said, teach me how to trust you again for it and increase my belief again. And I just said that prayer, and that was in November of 2023, so it wasn't that long ago. And then February of 24, I went on a 25-day fast, and I just knew that after this fast, it would have happened, and it didn't. The difference is after the fast, I said, God, I know you're up to something, but I don't know what it is, but I'll wait. I trust you. So in a matter of a couple months, he did increase my faith. He increased my trust and everything. And that night, next morning, I woke up probably about 2. He woke me up around 2:30, and he asked me. I went into prayer, and he asked me. He said, "Do you trust me enough to write a book about something that hasn't happened yet? Do you believe me enough to write about something you're still waiting for?" And I said, yes. And he said, I want you to start with the last chapter first. The last chapter of that book is called Lazarus' Faith. It was about faith that was dead and was resurrected. So if you want more, you have to read the book. But that's how that book came about.
Where should you said start on page 63? You said how long did it take?
Oh,
just, round it out, like 6 months after you stayed there, and then you said
how long did the whole book? Right, the whole book. That night, I wrote the first chapter. Like right after that prayer, I wrote the first chapter, and I didn't because I was writing another book. I was writing the parent and caregiver's guide when he told me to write that book, and then I put that book down after Lazarus' Faith. That was what I think March by that time because it was after the fast. And then May, he told me the first week in May, pick it up. So I wrote 3 chapters in one day, and then 6 days later, I wrote the other 9 chapters. So the other 6 chapters. So I wrote 9 chapters of that book in 6 days.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk more offline because I want to know the exact prayer you said, how long it took. And so we just going to be walking by faith, not by sight. So All
So
right.
I
So
guess can I just quickly, because I spent a lot of time on that book, so I just really want to tell the parents about the two books that are in my space, and that's the help support for parents of children with learning and thinking differences to feel confident, capable, and fulfilled. That book is based off of 25 years of my son's life. He's now 28, but his first 25 years and how we navigated the space. My son has learning differences, and what we did throughout school is all about the IEP and everything, what we did to navigate it. Each chapter deals with a personal story that we went through, but as an educator, I did a literature review and really brought in what the professionals and what other people are saying about it, so the parents and caregivers can make their own informed decision about what will work better for them. There, all the book references in that book are in the back. There were over 100 references that I did in that book. There's a glossary of terms of everything that the parents may need to take with them to IEP meetings. They can go to my website and print out the glossary and take it with them for support. And then the parent and caregivers guide. This is a book collaboration. After I wrote Help, I realized a lot of parents had their own stories, and I invited them to write. So they co-authored it with me. The first is 12 co-authors, 6 are parents telling their stories, and 6 are professionals answering the same questions. Both books are full of resources so parents and caregivers never have to feel alone on their journey. And then besides the books, they have my support group, Mothers of Exceptional Kids. We meet every first Tuesday of the month for free via Zoom at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, so you heard it here first. If you guys are looking for a group to join to just learn a little bit more about what she does, well, you said, let me see if I can put that down here. You said there's a Zoom.
Yeah, they go live.
And you said what? Oh, the second Tuesday?
First Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m.
Yeah, check that out. A lot of great information, I'm sure, is available for people who have children.
Neurodivergent children. And neurodivergent is an umbrella term that refers to the way an individual's brain processes, behaves, or learns differently than that which is considered normal or neurotypical. And it includes things like autism, ADHD, and dyslexia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
We definitely need a lot more information about that,
yes.
stuff like that, for sure.
Put that as something on our page. So to everyone watching, if this spoke to you, this is your reminder that healing doesn't just happen individually. It happens through community, and even after everything, you still have the space to grow, to soften, and to bloom.
And make sure you follow Brown Girls Collective, subscribe, and stay connected for more community, culture, and conversations.
We will see you at the next book club, you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.